Hi, it's Peg, and each week Chelsea and I do a live show on our sister channel, Art Joy is Sharing. And last week we were working with cold wax, so this is a piece I had begun. I'm just showing the audience, since it's a live audience, what I had been working on, and we're getting started with today's video. Now, for the month of August, we have chosen to do abstract art, and we have a list of prompts that can or cannot be used. You don't have to do them in order, you can do them whatever fashion you like, but some people like to have a little bit of direction, so we do have a list of prompts for the entire month. I've done a few of them from the top of the list, and today I'm going to continue on. I'm a little bit behind, so I'm going to do slanted and repeat in the live show today. So I have this cardstock. This is something from a journal that had fallen apart, and it's kind of like watercolor paper, so I'm going to cut it down. I think I'm just going to make some card fronts out of the pieces that I create today. Shell was working on a journal page, I believe. So if you're interested in seeing that, go check out Shell C and see what she did today, or just go to Art Joy is Sharing live stream, and you can watch the whole live show because we do save it for you each week. So now I have those pieces of paper, and I'm going to get out a craft sheet, and I'm going to start today with some Distress Oxide sprays. Just a real quick way of getting some color down in your background. And I want to dry it in between the layers. I add some water, get the speckled looking effect, and then I'm going to dry it down and add some more layering, because that's the beauty of working with this product, is you can get so many effects without a lot of effort. So I just want a little smattering of this darker blue. So you don't have to push the pump all the way down. You can just do a light pump and get less ink out of your bottle. So once again, I'm cleaning off that craft mat. This mat is, I believe, from Nuvo? I don't know. I'll have to check and put it in my links down below. I do have an Amazon store, so if you're interested in any of the products that I use, you can check out my Amazon store. I have them listed by category in my store. So, yeah, slanted. I decided to use some of these colorful papers that I have in my stash, and I'm going to create a slanted house, one of those wonky, kind of like Leaning Tower of Pisa houses. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this paper, a slanted piece of this paper, and glue it down with my Yoo-Hoo glue stick. And I'll put a roof on it, and I'll decorate it a little bit with some, what is that? It's a Stabilo All pencil. I'm going to use that for some shading. So, yeah, I wasn't going to use the blue, and then I ended up using it anyway because I didn't really want that roof blending into the background. I don't know how I ended up doing that, but I did. We're doing a live show. It's okay. So I'm going to add doors and windows to my wonky slanted house. This very abstract house, it's not realistic. And so I'll just get my pencil and outline some of these things on here. So if you're new to this channel and you're liking the content, please consider subscribing, sharing, post it on Pinterest. Um, you let YouTube know that this content is something that you enjoyed, which in turn lets other people know that uh, it's a good artsy video, and YouTube will have it come up for other people. So I appreciate all the support when you give me thumbs up and all of that sort of thing. So now I'm just going to put a little quote on here. It says, "From my house to yours." And that'll make a cute card front. Do a little bit of dotty dots on my letters. And then I will move on to a second card front. Cards are a real quick, easy thing to do, and I think at this time it's really nice to send a homemade card to somebody. We've all kind of been like shut-ins, so it's kind of nice to get a card in the mail from somebody. So I'm going to look for some stencils. A lot of times I'll do that. I have a big rack with all kinds of stencils on it, and I go over and shop my stencils. Okay, so I cut a piece of cardstock in half, and then I'm just going to score it, fold it over with my bone folder. I think I'll end up cutting down this card front so I have a little bit of reveal around the edge. Typical card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So if you cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4, then you've got that 1/4 inch reveal on the outside. I forget that not everybody has been crafting for years and years, and they don't know dimensions and how to go about doing some of these things. So I have to remind myself, you need to tell people what you're doing. Let them know how to create these things. I know many of you are seasoned crafters, and you don't need that information, but, this is for those people who don't do this all the time. So there's my first card. And I'm looking at the prompt and I'm saying, okay, next prompt. So I have another card front, and on this one I'm going to use some inks. Looking at my stencils, trying to figure out what I want to do here. Haven't got just exactly, what I'm looking for yet. So for this card, I end up settling on one of the ATC stencils from Stencil Girl. Now, I cut down stencils. I pulled this one out, but I don't end up using it. Don't ask me why. But I have these distress inks. These are the original formula. And I'm just going to use a blending tool in some of these colors, which I'm putting down on my craft mat. Now, I will start by wetting that with some water and dragging it through, drying it off, adding more color. Typical distress ink technique here. I have used and loved distress inks for years. They are water soluble and just a staple for card making. I don't use distress inks in my mixed media work, so mostly I have it for this type of thing. I do sometimes use them in my journals because, it's in a journal. So adding some of the greens and blues. Once I get the color on there, I will wet it with some water, get those water splash marks on the background. I am deciding I want kind of a, I don't know, watercolor effect, deep sea effect. So you can see that the water kind of mops up some of that ink and gives it that water droplet look. So I need to dry that down. This is the Tim Holtz craft tool from Ranger, and it does not blow as hard as an embossing gun. It's not as directed. The nozzle is not as directed. So now you can see I have these stencils, and I'm pulling out this one that has these sea images. There's a nautilus seashell, and I have always liked that image. I remember my grandmother sending me seashells from Florida when I was a kid. It was fun to get a box of seashells in the mail. So I'm going to use a couple of different paste materials. One is Ann Butler, this iridescent purple media. I'm just going to slip my stencil off of the binding here so I can get it flat. And I'll put a little bit of that down on my craft mat, grab a blending tool, and put some of that product on my tool and through the stencil. So I have that product, and then I also have a Gina K Glitter paste product. But you can see the nautilus image there. I really like that. This is almost looking fossilized now. So I'm just going to use my tool and pick up that excess. No sense letting that paste go to waste. And you can see it's dry on my craft mat already. I'm just using a wipe to clean that up. Clean my stencil off a little bit, and then I will go to the Gina K Glitter product. Now, I have used this product a lot. There's not a lot left in the jar, so it's starting to dry down. When you have headspace in a jar, that's what happens. Whether it's paint or paste or whatever, it starts to dry down. So you can see I'm trying to get it picked up on my tool, and I'm having difficulty with that just because of how dry it is. So I'm going to use my finger, smear it around with my finger. Your best tool right there on the end of your hand, and that's working for me fine. So where there's a will, there's a way, right? So I'm really liking this. I don't like what I ended up doing in the end. I put this seahorse on there. I should have just left this alone. I really liked this background, and I just think the seahorse kind of ended up being distracting. I could have put some kind of quote or something over this and been perfectly happy with how beautiful those pastes came out on that background. But no, you know, I got an hour and a half and time to kill, so I might as well keep on working. So all of these images are from one 9x12 stencil, and what I do is just cut it down. They are images that are made for ATCs, so they're sized for that. But I'm just going to take a piece of paper. I want to see what this turtle looks like and what this seahorse looks like and figure out what I want to put onto my background. And in the long run, I selected the seahorse. So I'm going to just cut around that and glue that on top so that I've got something to work from. Now, this was not my very best day. I have been a little under the weather, and so, yeah, the final shots of this did not include portions of that seahorse that are kind of essential, like his fins. Oh, dear. Anyway, glue that down, and then I'm going to add some paints and things to that. I've got this gold gesso. I'm going to start by layering that, and I want my seahorse to be sparkly and pretty, just like the stuff that's in the background. So I'll start with gold gesso, and then I will add a few other things. Finish out my card, call it a day, and be ready to do this once again next week on Art Joy Sharing live stream. So in the description box below, there are a number of things that you can find. All of my links are in the link tree. You know, all of my links for my groups and my Instagram and my blog, and so there's all of that stuff down below. Like I said, the Amazon store is there. I also have a few other affiliate links. If you're going to shop, use my affiliate links. Some of them actually give you a discount. It doesn't cost you anything to use my link, but it does give a few cents to my channel if you're going to go shopping anyway. So I'm just adding a little, these are Nouveau glitter pins. I'm just adding a little bit of sparkle to my seahorse. And drying that off, and then I'm going to add back the stencil and a few other things. But that's about it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're going to play along with us doing abstract art. You don't have to do it every day. We give you the prompts and things just to encourage you to make art every day, because the only way we improve is with practice, and that's all we're doing here is keeping busy while we're at home and practicing our craft. So I'm going to use some of these sparkly paints, add layers to my seahorse, and I'm just going to use my scrap paper and clean that up. Don't want to waste that pretty paint. And I'll get out my Stabilo again and finish it off. So thanks, guys. Your kind comments mean so much to me. I try to respond to everybody who is commenting on my channel. And come and join us on Art Joy Sharing. Bye for now.